morning. Is it still a
Good
hot market out
morning.
there?
It's a crazy market out here. And I say it time and time again, realtors do not like this market, and it is just kind of the crazy Wild West for sure. It has surpassed what any forecast has originally they thought that the market would go up, but not as much as it has. What's really frustrating a lot of people and what has happened is the fact that the inventory levels still remain low. We normally have about a month of inventory here in the Ottawa area, even up to 5 weeks. Right now, we barely have 2 weeks of inventory. And so that's really driving up the kind of the crazy Wild West that we do have.
Okay.
In addition to the fact that we have record low interest rates. So again, this is driving kind of the Wild West out there.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the things people need to do then to be prepared. And a pre-approval, is that a good place to start?
Absolutely. So as we know right now, most of the homes are going into multiple offers. That means more than one offer on a home. And it could be as many, I've seen personally, even up to 35 offers. It kind of gets a little crazy. And so what's really important is to get yourself ready for this multiple offer situation. So how do we maneuver through all those offers? First and foremost, pre-approval is key. It's not pre-qualified, it's pre-approval. So there is a difference. The big difference between pre-approval and pre-qualified is the fact that you go deeper into your financial background, i.e. you will have your credit pulled, you will have to provide proof of employment, etc. It's not enough just to say we're getting pre-qualified. So when you talk to a mortgage broker, and I strongly encourage mortgage brokers, is the fact that they will pull a lot more information so that your financial, you removing your finance clause will be more comfortable for you because you know that you can afford that home.
The seller might also have some needs that could come into play here. What would they be?
Absolutely, and that's a great point. So when you're putting in an offer in a multiple situation, it's not just always about price. Sometimes the seller themselves want a particular closing date. There might be a couple of items that they don't want to take with them because they're to the wall. A big trend that we're seeing right now are Murphy beds. So maybe you want to take that. But the closing date and even possibly the deposit amount has now come into play. So ask those questions with your realtor to find out what's important to them, because it may not only be about money.
Okay. Yeah, and that leads me to the next question, which is that the highest offer might not always be the best offer. Why would that be the case?
So sometimes it's about conditions. The big thing about working through a multiple offer situation, you need to have your offer stand out. And so sometimes it's not about the highest price. I know with my clients, sometimes they're not taking the highest price offer. It's the one that meets that closing date. It's the one that doesn't have the conditions of finance, or even, we've talked about it before, is no condition of inspection because possibly you have done your inspection before the offer date. So it's not necessarily always about price. It might be about other items that are involved into the offer.
All right, good information, Colleen. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come back after this quick break. So if you at home have any questions for Colleen, going into multiple offers, I'm not talking 5 or 6. When you say 30, 35, I mean, that's overwhelming. And when you're in a situation like that, you need a professional on your side, right? I mean, is this the kind of market you can go shopping in on your own?
Absolutely not. The big thing that I tell people all the time is whether it's this market or another market, but especially this market, you definitely need the advice of a realtor in order to represent you and guide you through things like we've just spoken about multiple offers and what to do to prep yourself. So, interviewing a realtor is absolutely important. And we can talk further about that for sure, about how to interview a realtor.
Okay, let's bring in some questions now. We've got the first one coming to us from Michelle. She writes, in this crazy market, we have been hearing about buyers foregoing a house inspection. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a great question. Thank you, Michelle, for bringing it. So there's kind of a multifaceted conversation on that. Some people are foregoing home inspections because the home is newer. It may already fall under a Terrain warranty, and a Terrain warranty covers certain elements of a home, even up to foundation for 7 years. So certain compartmentalized. So first year are small little blips, and then windows are covered, etc. And so there's different faceted. So some people are comfortable with walking away for a home inspection because they're buying a newer home. Now, what we do say, though, a lot of times in this market, a home is being held onto the market and not accepting offers for a certain amount of days. A lot of times it's about a week. And so, Michelle, with you and your realtor, what we strongly encourage then is, do you want to spend the time to put your mind at ease and do a pre-inspection? And so even the home that we sold last night, there were 3 realtors who had already done the home inspection before they even brought me an offer. And so that is definitely an option for you. Some people may not like the fact that, a home inspection is generally about $500. And so some people definitely are like, well, then I might be at $500. You have to decide what kind of peace of mind this will give you. And so it's something to definitely have a good conversation about.
All right, let's get on to another question. This one is coming in from Nancy. She writes, condo apartments. We are in a soft market for people who want to sell, and has the price gone up in the last few months like individual homes?
So again, a great question. People often think that condos are softer than home values, and we are actually not so. The condo market has skyrocketed completely, and so it is on the same wavelength that individual residential homes are. So from condo townhomes to condo apartments, we are seeing an incline. I believe the last rise that we saw last month was even up to 6%. Perfect example is one of my agents bought a condo downtown, smack downtown near the station, and there were 5 offers on it. And I'm looking at my notes, and it went 55,000 over asking. So if you have a condo to sell, this is still a great time to sell your condo.
All right, which brings us right back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the segment, which was about getting professional help. So how do you interview a realtor and find the one that's right for you and can get you what you're looking for?
So this is something that I strongly encourage everyone, in the fact that you really need to interview a realtor. So first and foremost, of course, you can ask your friends and family and see if they've had some really good experience about what you need to, like, what was their experience. So that's always a great start. The other one is, you might want to look around for who dominates in your market, because you really want an agent who understands where you're at. Perfect example, do you have if you are out in a rural property, do you have a realtor who understands septic and well? That's really important. So you might want to look around at who's got all the signs in your area, and maybe reach out to them as well. Another great start that I would do is even just read Google reviews. A lot of people say, oh, I use this agent, and then you realize, well, their Google reviews might be a little soft or not at all. And so Google reviews are another great start, just to get a sense of who you might want to sit down with. And I always encourage that you interview 3 realtors at least, so that you get a sense of what they can offer you.
All right, great advice, Colleen. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have more questions on the other side of the break. And if you have questions at home for Colleen, get them to us now, ottawa.morning. appropriate that you go and look into a realtor? As we're discussing, Colleen, that you have to interview a few realtors before choosing one. And then when you do decide, there's some questions you suggest you put to them. What are they?
Absolutely. So don't hesitate to really ask your realtor some of the hard questions. How about how long have they been a realtor? There is a big difference between, a new agent and someone seasoned. They have different motivations. Sometimes a new agent really wants to work very, very hard. And then a more seasoned agent just knows how to negotiate. So you have to figure out what's important to you. Another good question that I encourage people is really about their production levels. How many homes do you sell a year? How many homes do you sell in this area? Don't hesitate to ask those questions and ask them to to prove what they have in front of them, because we can easily show you all our numbers that we do. Another good question is, do you have an assistant? Because if you're busy, can I get a hold of someone else? That is always a good question, because you want to make sure that when you hire someone, like in any industry, you want to know that they're going to be there for you. So that's really, really important. I know in our team, our personal service for all our clients is something that we hold in really high regard. And that's why I run a team. So they have direct access to me. And if they can't get a hold of me, they have direct access to my assistant. And so that's always really, really important. And then there are the other components, such thing as, do they actually have a marketing plan? Are they doing professional photos? Are they doing professional staging? There is nothing more frustrating than to see your home and all you see are really blurry pictures, or that the staging has not been done so that your home doesn't show its best. So there's a whole component of interviewing a realtor that I really strongly always encourage our viewers to really look at. And if they have any questions, we have all of this on our website.
All right. Well, speaking of questions, we do have another one for you, Colleen. This one from David. He writes, we have an investment property, which is an empty lot on the Rideau River in the Manotick area. We are wondering what the best option might be for the greatest return on investment, to sell the empty lot now or build a home on it and sell the property down the road.
David, that's a great question, and I'm going to give you two answers. I think it's a matter of figuring out what your rate of return would be, your ROI. What does that look like? It is easy to sell a lot, and lots are worth, especially on such a beautiful piece of property, your lot will sell 100%. Yet, if you have someone that you know and you know that you can build a good home on it, you need to work out the numbers. Is it a big, beautiful bungalow on the Rideau? Then absolutely, it might be worth you looking at that. I think it depends on what kind of home you're looking to build and who the builder is. Is it, Dave, do you know someone who can help you with this? Because if you're not in a rush, it might be worth going down that. But there's also that factor of effort and time. And that's something that I often say to people, that should be included in your rate of return. How much time do you want to spend doing a general contract job? Do you have a builder that will just take it over and that you don't have to lift a finger? Or is it easier for you just to say, well, for this lot, it might be worth something, a lot more than I thought, and I'm just going to walk away because then I don't have to worry about it. So rate of return is not just about money, but it's a great question.
Yeah.
Fabulous question.
We do have another one coming in, and this one I think is a great one too, Colleen, because I think a lot of people wonder this. Do you recommend buying or selling first? Barbara wants to know.
The infamous question
Yeah.
that all realtors are asked. It is like the A1 question that we are all asked. And again, I'm going to say, it depends. If you have a very specific property, maybe out in the country that not everybody will run to, and you're just moving into town, it may be a conversation that we can have where it's like, yeah, maybe we are going to sell first. A majority of the time that we are talking to people is we're actually saying to buy first. A lot of buyers out there are respectfully and truthfully getting very frustrated right now because they are having to write 4, 5, 6, 7 offers before they even get a property. And so I would say to Barb that, it depends where you're going, depends what you have to sell, but definitely sit down with a realtor, figure out the value of your home, speak to a mortgage broker, figure out what you can afford with those numbers, and then work it out backwards. But majority of the time, it is actually buying first.
That's great advice, Colleen, and I know it's a busy market out there. Any sign that it's going to slow as we're now into the spring season?
We are actually hoping that we get some more inventory. We have seen a slight increase in inventory. The fact that Ottawa is very much run by weather, ironically. Ottawa, we are a 4-day, 10-month kind of town, right? We like our Fridays off, we like our summers off, and that's just the way it is. Yet with the summer weather coming, hopefully, the fact is usually things pick up. So we should see a little bit of the balance coming up. What will be really interesting to see is the fact that we are hearing that interest rates will go up. Mm-hmm. So that should add to a little bit of slowdown. We are hoping, and fingers crossed, that a balanced market comes by around Thanksgiving. So that's what I tell all the viewers right now is if you have a home to sell, you couldn't ask for a better market right now because we need the inventory.
Right.
And people keep saying, well, where are all these people coming from? We have a lot of people coming from Toronto and Montreal deciding to retire here. Mm-hmm. And because we are the market that we are at, we just always seem to stay strong. So I don't believe we're in a bubble. And I know a lot of people ask that. I don't believe we're in a bubble, but we don't have a lot of inventory. And so that's what's happening right now.
All right, Colleen, great information as always. Great chatting with you. Don't forget you can get a hold of Colleen Lyle, ColleenLyle.com for more information.